We are living in a time that's not merely indifferent to Christianity, not merely tolerant of Christianity, but in many sectors, and increasingly so, it's aggressively hostile to it. We are entering into what the Catechism describes as this final age of the church, this age of tribulation that the church must face. This is not me making it up. This comes right out of the Catechism. The church will enter the glory of the kingdom only through this final Passover, when she will follow her Lord in his death and resurrection. The kingdom will be fulfilled then not by a historic triumph of the church through a progressive ascendancy. Pause there. This is what I think many people think, that we're gonna recapture it and we're gonna just be back on this trajectory, flying our way up to glory. It's not gonna be through a progressive ascendancy, but only by God's victory over the final unleashing of evil, which will cause his bride to come down from heaven. God's triumph over the revolt of evil will take the form of the last judgment after the final cosmic upheaval of this passing world. This is one of those quotes of the Catechism, you're like, oh boy, right? Is Father Mike Schmidt's going to talk about this one? I don't know, right? So you're just going to be yada, yada, yada. But it's true, though. This is true, that the church, we will go the way of our head, right? Christ is the head. We are the body. The head will go the way of the body. The head was crucified, died, and was buried. There will come a time where the church looks like she's crucified, dead, and buried. But give it 3 days, right? Give it 3 days. Let's watch this.
We are fighting an enemy right here. But to win a war, we have to know who the real enemy is, and we have to know the proper tactics for winning the battle with that type of enemy. Garden of Gethsemane. We read that the soldiers came with clubs and weapons. Battle's about to happen. And the way these people are fighting it is with clubs and weapons. Peter takes out his sword. So this is how we fight. You're not taking him away. I'm going to make sure you know. Put away your sword. Put away your sword. As if Jesus is saying, this is a different kind of battle. If you fight it on these terms, you will lose. I believe Jesus is saying to Peter, this is a battle of a different kind. Watch what I'm going to do. Watch how I win this. We are fighting not flesh and blood. We are fighting principalities and powers who want the destruction of the Catholic Church. And the way you destroy the Catholic Church is by taking out the domestic church, which is the family. The way you take out the domestic church is by destroying sexual fidelity. The way you destroy sexual fidelity is with contraception, abortion, and pornography. This is the world we're in, right? But we know who wins. Jesus wins. His church will win. How will his church win? The same way Jesus won. The church must pass through the same horror that Jesus went through, and the church will in some way die. How? I don't know. The church will die because she will go the way of her Savior. It will be mocked. It will be spat upon. It will be crucified. It will die. We have to be men and women who are willing to learn how to fight as Jesus fought. And that it's going to look very different than we think. It's going to look like defeat. For a short time, it will look like defeat. And when it is as black can be, give it 3 days and wait to see what happens. Do not misunderstand this as passivity. This is active holiness. It's learning how to really go the whole way with Jesus to Calvary, to the descent into hell, and from there to glory. Are we willing to walk through that with Jesus? That's the only way.
It's not passivity. It's active holiness. When you look at when God unsheathed the weapon who is Jesus, and you see how did he fight? On the cross, he fought in complete vulnerability. He allowed himself to be pierced. It was a war of the heart. That's the battle. That's the battle. That is the battle. What is the enemy trying to accomplish? He's trying to destroy the church, which is the only lifeboat that there is on this sea of this fallen world. And he's trying to maximize suffering. That's what the enemy wants, to maximize suffering and destruction and devastation. And how? As he said, by destroying the domestic church. And what is the domestic church? The family. He's going after the family. How do you destroy the domestic church? The family. You go after the union that builds the family, which is marriage. You go after the hearts of men.